a Chinese mercenary on the Russia-Ukraine battlefield, said.
Being a mercenary here means putting your life at great risk, especially in an intense war zone. Even if they offer you a high salary, there's no assurance of survival. I sincerely advise you to reconsider coming to Russia as a mercenary.
In the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, an alarming reality is happening with Chinese mercenaries. These people, lured by promises of substantial pay, found themselves thrust into the heart of a brutal war, only to be treated as expendable assets. As the intensity of the conflict escalated, many sought to escape the chaos but were brutally attacked by Russian military officers. So what will their fate be? Stay tuned for today's episode to delve more into this fact. But before we begin, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel, Facts About China. Thanks a lot for your support. Recently, a Chinese mercenary shared a video on social media about his training experience in Russia. He said,
This morning I thought we were going to walk 5 kilometers, but we ended up walking 8. Now, on the way back, I see others riding in cars while we're still on foot. Others get to ride to and from training locations, but we have to walk to and back minus 16 kilometers in total. I'm exhausted, thirsty, and hungry, and my legs feel worn out. I'm already falling behind by at least a kilometer with 2 others ahead of me. This must be one of the toughest jobs in the world. As a mechanized infantryman, I finally understand the challenges.
This Chinese mercenary added, "The Russians even made us gather firewood. I spent all of yesterday collecting it, and today they want us to chop it." It is clear that this self-proclaimed mercenary lacks the qualities of a true professional soldier, as he is already complaining after a short amount of walking. It seems that he has not experienced genuine hardship. Some viewers familiar with him have mentioned that he used to work as a delivery driver in China. He said he came to Russia with the aspiration of firing a gun, possibly assuming it would be similar to playing a video game. Instead of paying to play, he hoped to earn money. Individuals like him may only come to understand the harsh reality and regret their choice once they confront genuine danger and suffer injuries on the battlefield. On October 19th, during a live stream, 2 Chinese mercenaries known as Li Dafu and the Warden casually mentioned that errors made by Russian commanders are frequent. They also stated that many bodies cannot be identified and are simply reported as missing. The Warden affirmed that there had been 153 Chinese casualties on his front line and suggested that the number would be even higher if the count included their area. Additionally, he noted that 8 North Korean soldiers who were with them had disappeared in just one day, even at the commander level, expressing skepticism about the perceived toughness of North Korean soldiers. An analyst remarked, "From this angle, it appears that President Xi Jinping is indirectly involved in the conflict. Given the stringent internet censorship in China, the fact that such content is not being blocked implies tacit approval. It seems to be encouraging Chinese nationals to support Russia. This could set a precedent, similar to how crossing the line videos became popular and led to more people engaging in that behavior. While those videos have been entirely banned, this type of content is still permitted, indicating it is being tolerated and even promoted." Lately, a video emerged depicting 2 ordinary, officially trained Chinese soldiers in the streets of Moscow, appearing to validate speculation that China has covertly sent its regular army to Russia. Additionally, another source unveiled that 5 Chinese soldiers who were aiding Russia tragically lost their lives after accidentally stepping on a sequence of landmines laid by Ukrainian forces on August 30th. They will not be able to come back to their homeland. According to Chinese media, 2 Chinese men named Li Hongyi and Li Jiaya joined the Russian military and were sent to the front lines of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. However, they tragically lost their lives after just one day. It was reported that they arrived in Russia in early June, underwent more than a month of basic infantry training, and were then assigned to units mainly made up of foreign soldiers. The report mentioned that initially Li Hongji and Li Jia were unaware of their mission until they reached the front lines, where they found out that they were part of a strike team. At that point, it was too late for them to withdraw. The 2 had been in contact online with other Chinese soldiers in Russia and were believed to have decent military skills. Sadly, they were sent to the front lines as expendable resources. A group of Chinese soldiers participated in Russian military training and went to the eastern Ukraine battlefield with great enthusiasm. However, one soldier, after witnessing the brutal realities of war, wished to go back to China, but Russian military officers refused to let him leave. They physically assaulted him, including using sticks, as he pleaded in Chinese. Online remarks mockingly pointed out that these Chinese soldiers who had willingly joined to assist Russia were unaware that going to eastern Ukraine meant facing almost certain death. When they came to this realization, they became frightened, which was both embarrassing and distressing. So what happens when the mercenaries' contract ends and they want to return home? A Chinese mercenary called the warden recounted that, despite his assumption his assignment was over, his superiors informed him his contract would still last until the war concluded. Tasked with leading a dangerous storm troop unit, he faced moral ambiguity and practical necessity, acknowledging the dangers his men faced if they fled. Responding to criticism, he stated his choices were driven by basic survival, stressing that ideals mattered little if he couldn't even secure a meal upon return. He added,
If I come back, I'll need to search for a job on my own, and there's no assurance that I'll be able to find employment, so I choose to stay here. Several people here expressed dissatisfaction about the Russians and how they treat us poorly. I explained to them that no matter how bad the Russians are in their different culture, they still give me what I'm owed.
This guy could symbolize the attitude of numerous Chinese hired soldiers. If they weren't facing difficulties in making ends meet in China, why would they be willing to endanger their lives for financial gain? When he mentioned, no matter how bad the Russians are, he suddenly paused, reluctant to continue. It's possible that he still holds on to the hope of going back to China and is hesitant to openly criticize the true culprit, the Chinese Communist Party, which has caused him to struggle to sustain himself. It's striking that, despite being the world's second largest economy, many people in China are still struggling. The presence of Chinese mercenaries in the Russia-Ukraine conflict has inadvertently revealed the challenges facing the Chinese economy. One Chinese mercenary, Li Jianwei, has gained attention for discussing the experiences of Chinese mercenaries. He describes the relentless nature of the battlefield, where there is no distinction between day and night, and the overwhelming presence of drones. The drones' intelligence is impressive, detecting tanks as soon as they arrive and bombing them until they are reduced to scrap metal. This is a stark contrast to his previous experiences, where missions were shorter and less intense. Perhaps he had been influenced by watching too many movies, leading him to perceive war as just a game or an adventure. This mindset may have been shaped by years of Chinese Communist Party propaganda, which depicted the harshness of war as if it were a comedic anti-Japanese drama. In addition, the involvement of Chinese mercenaries in the Russia-Ukraine war has significant geopolitical implications. China's official stance on this conflict has been neutral, with calls for a peaceful resolution. However, the presence of Chinese nationals fighting for Russia complicates this narrative and raises questions about China's role in the conflict. Russia's use of Chinese mercenaries can be seen as a strategic move to leverage China's growing influence and resources. It also reflects the broader trend of using foreign fighters to circumvent international sanctions and bolster military capabilities. However, this strategy carries risks, as it can lead to diplomatic tensions and undermine China's efforts to maintain a neutral stance. On the other hand, Chinese mercenary La Wang mentioned the presence of North Korean soldiers on the Russia-Ukraine battlefield, indirectly confirming reports of North Korea sending troops to Russia. The image of North Korean soldiers, renowned for their heavily armed and synchronized marching, has always been enigmatic to people worldwide. Many are curious about the true capabilities of this mysterious force. A senior Ukrainian official recently revealed that a group of 18 North Korean soldiers escaped near the Russia-Ukraine border on October 16th, approximately 7 kilometers northwest of the Bryansk and Kursk regions. The soldiers have not been apprehended yet, and the local Russian military is allegedly concealing this information from their superiors. The specific affiliations and motives of the escaped soldiers remain unclear. The actions of the North Korean soldiers were understandable. Experts suggest that due to severe resource shortages, North Korea's army rarely engages in effective combat training. Their equipment is outdated and expired ammunition is common, resulting in very low combat capabilities. North Korea's military strength primarily depends on strategic deterrents like ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons, which are backed and upheld by the Chinese Communist Party. During important global events, China essentially directs North Korea's nuclear and missile exercises. North Korea's regular army is mainly used to suppress its own population, with the main purpose of quelling any resistance or uprisings. Their military parades are intended to instill fear in their own people, and their martial arts displays are more like entertainment for their leaders. This closely resembles the practices of the Chinese Communist Party. Therefore, the lack of military capacity among North Korean soldiers becomes apparent in actual combat situations. These North Korean troops were fully aware that they were deployed to the Russia-Ukraine battlefield as expendable soldiers, with little chance of escaping back home, so this seemed to be both a challenge and an opportunity for them. Ironically, their homeland is the most dangerous place for them. Their decision to flee before being used as cannon fodder might change some perceptions. It turns out they're not as naive as previously people thought. On the other hand, the situation of Chinese mercenaries who joined the conflict is more intricate. Many are former soldiers struggling with tough lives and unstable prospects, trying their luck to earn money. A smaller group consists of brainwashed civilian volunteers who are finding thrills, dreaming of making a fortune or becoming legendary heroes. A small number of active-duty military personnel from the Chinese Communist Party are also disguised as mercenaries. Their main objective is to collect intelligence, and they generally possess knowledge about the Russian military, which means they are not usually deployed to the most perilous frontline roles. A video released by the Ukrainian military indicated people who seemed to be Chinese mercenaries were captured. Observers responded, suggesting that being captured is actually a stroke of luck, as it means they have the chance to go back home alive. However, there is uncertainty about whether they truly understand the cause they are fighting for. China's Ministry of Defense has recently been preparing to officially send troops to support Russia and has created a Douyin account called Ministry of Defense Release, which quickly gained over 19 million followers. The first video posted on the account received 2 million views within 2 hours, but the comments section was filled with mockery towards Chinese soldiers, with some comments even referencing the recent incident in Qingdao, where a female driver assaulted a veteran, leading to the ridicule of Chinese troops. This has led to a growing belief that the Chinese military no longer serves the people and that brainwashed soldiers are merely a small group serving a privileged class. On the other hand, the North Korean soldiers we observed earlier are essentially tools used by the Kim family's dictatorship to enforce their rule and generate income. They lack even the most basic personal freedoms and dignity. Despite their absurd and almost comedic marching style, their true combat abilities are revealed on the battlefield. Similarly, many Chinese individuals who become mercenaries in Russia do so due to difficult circumstances and hopelessness, risking their lives for financial gain. However, there are also some who have been deeply influenced by the Chinese Communist Party, believing that engaging in war is a patriotic act and a way to release their frustrations and anger while earning money. These individuals are particularly pitiful as they are unaware that the Chinese Communist Party tacitly supports or even encourages them to become mercenaries in Russia in order to divert social conflicts and eliminate unstable elements, ultimately using them as expendable pawns. The Chinese Communist Party has no intention of allowing them to return alive. That's the wrap for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to Facts About China and turn on notifications to stay current with all our future uploads. Your support is incredibly important to us. Until next time, take care and farewell.